Hey y'all, I'm Hope. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at whether my Goodreads Choice Award top 10 predictions were correct. If you haven't already seen this video, I'll link it in the description below, but like 2 weeks ago, time is a fiction, like 2 weeks ago when the Goodreads Choice Award nominees were announced, I did a video predicting which books I thought would be in the final round for the mystery, thriller, fantasy, sci-fi, and horror categories. Today we're going to be looking at whether any of those predictions were correct. The final round just opened like 3 minutes ago. I was waiting for this to actually open so that I could film this video reacting to what's made it into the top 10. So that's what we're going to be doing, and without any more rambling, I guess hopefully there isn't too much rambling here at the beginning, without any more of it, let's go look at what actually made it into the top 10 and see how close I was to being right. Okay, so they finally opened, and I have put my predictions directly below my face in this recording so that I can, actually remember what I predicted and we can actually compare. So, let's look at mysteries and thrillers first. Okay, so we have Daisy Darker, which was on my predictions. The Bullet That Missed, that was on my predictions. A Flicker in the Dark, which I had not had on my predictions. That's interesting. Although I do remember people being really interested in this book at the beginning of the year when it first came out. I had not heard very many reviews of it, which is why I didn't put it on my list. The Maid, I think that was on my prediction list. Ruth Ware's The It Girl, that was on my predictions. Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James. The Paris Apartment. All Good People Here. I don't know anything about that book, so that was why I hadn't included it. So that was one that I did not get right. Wrong Place, Wrong Time. I only heard about a couple of times, kind of at the end of the year, right before the nominees were announced, so I didn't know much about it, but that's interesting that's on there. And Killers of a Certain Age, which was on my predictions. So I think that means I got 7 out of 10, and the ones from my own predictions that were not on here were The Night Shift by Alex Finlay, The Family Game by Catherine Steadman, and The Golden Couple by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. I think that's correct. So yeah, I feel pretty good about that. I got like 7 out of 10 right. That's really cool. Alright, so moving right along, let's look at fantasy. Babel by R.F. Kuang, I had that on my list. Daughter of the Moon Goddess was on my list. Stephen King's Fairy Tale. I mean, I feel like Babel, Fairy Tale, those were pretty obvious that they were going to be on the list. Legend of Lattes was very popular. I think that was on my list. The Atlas 6 I expected to see. I expected to see The Golden Enclaves. Lost Metal I expected to see. War of Two Queens I expected to see. The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches was not originally on my list, but since making that prediction video, I've seen a lot of people talking about this one and really enjoying it. I've seen several people say it's like one of their favorite books of the year, so I'm actually not surprised now to see that here, but that was one that I hadn't predicted. And House of Sky and Breath, which obviously Sarah J. Maas was going to be on the top 10. So, is that... I think I got 9 out of 10. Hooray! I'm good at predicting the fantasy ones, apparently. Next, we're going to move on to science fiction, and this one I really had no idea on, so I fully expect to be wrong on most of these. Hunt the Stars, I have no idea what this book is about, so yeah, there's that. None of the Ninth was on my list. How We Go in the Dark was on my list as well, and Sea of Tranquility was. Upgrade I had predicted would be in the top 10. Dead Silence, I've heard a few people talk about that one, and I'm actually excited to see it there. I've been wanting to read it, but I didn't know enough about it to predict that it would be in the top 10. Actually, I really didn't know enough about any of these sci-fi books. But that's cool that made it. I had not predicted that one. John Scalzi, I was correct on. The Measure is interesting because I think maybe it was like a subscription box book at some point. I'm really not sure. I only heard like one person talk about this before making that video, and I think I've only heard like one more person talk about it since then. So I really don't know what to make of that one. And then I was right on Daughter of Dr. Moreau and Leviathan Falls, which were both well-known authors, so I expected to see those there. So how many is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, 7 out of 10. So still pretty good, actually, given that I had no confidence in my ability to predict the sci-fi ones, because I really noticed that in sci-fi this year I had heard of very few of the books, which was interesting in contrast to last year, because last year I think I'd heard of all of the nominees, and this year I'd only heard of maybe half of them, so that's really interesting. Okay, one more. Let's go horror. Yep, The Hacienda. I know a lot of people have been talking about that recently. Just like Mother, I had not predicted. That's interesting that one's here because I haven't heard anyone talk. Well, no, I've heard a couple of people talk about it, but it's been on like TBRs, not in reviews. So I don't know what anybody is thinking about that book or how anybody feels about it. I haven't seen any reviews of it. Hidden Pictures, I have heard a couple people talk about, so that doesn't entirely surprise me. What Moves the Dead, that's exciting. I had predicted that one, and actually I really like that book. I think it's really fun. The Violence, I wasn't sure about because I haven't heard many people talk about it, but I know that it came out like at the beginning of the year, so I guess a lot of people have had time to read that one. House of Hunger, I did predict that one. I know Alexis Henderson's other book, what was that one? I swear I can never remember the name of this book. The one that came out last year that has like the black and white cover, that one was really popular last year, so I'm not surprised to see Alexis Henderson again on the top 10. I did not predict the Stephen King book would be on the top 10, and I don't know why I didn't predict that. I guess I didn't fully process that he was nominated in this category as well, but yeah, that I should have known. Children on the Hill I did predict. Juniper and Thorn was my last minute kind of wild card that I threw in there when I was predicting, so I'm excited to see that here. And Our Wives Know the Sea I'd also predicted. So I think I actually got the least right on this one. Let's see, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so 6 out of 10. But still better than a 50% right, so I'm happy with that. That's actually really exciting. I did way better at predicting these than I thought I was going to. I thought that I would be very wrong on most of these. So I'm really excited that I had more than a 50% success rate on every category. And fantasy, I had almost 100% success rate. So that was really cool. This was a fun experiment. I did not do this last year, but I think I will maybe do it again next year because, again, it was really fun and it was cool to see whether I was right. I hope you've enjoyed this. Before I go, though, I was going to mention that I'm thinking about resurrecting my project from last year, which is really this year, where I tried to read all of the sci-fi and fantasy nominees from last year's Goodreads Choice Award. That turned out to be way too big of a task, and so I talked about this in my predictions video as well, but I'm thinking about doing it again, but on a smaller scale. So if I were to do that, I would either do all of the nominees for science fiction or all of the nominees for fantasy, which would be broken up into some smaller videos, probably like 2 books per video, across a span of time. Just kind of reading all of the nominees from a single category and, just seeing how I feel about all of them. And then the other thing I was considering was doing just these top 10 for either fantasy or sci-fi, and that would be a longer video of reading all of the books and then ranking them and seeing basically how my ranking matches up to how the books actually turn out once the votes are in. So I wouldn't expect to be able to finish all 10 of them in December. This would be something that'd come out probably early next year. But yeah, that's kind of the idea. But I just wanted to put that on your radar in case you are interested in seeing any of that from me. I would definitely love to know your opinion. So let me know down in the comments below if you prefer one of these categories over another. And also let me know what your favorite book is in one of these categories, one of your top 10s for the year. I would love to know which books you particularly loved out of these categories this year. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, I hope you'll consider giving it a like and maybe even subscribing to see what comes next. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.